everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Nia. I am a professional pastry chef, and today I am going to be redecorating this store-bought cake that I bought at my local grocery store, and I'm going to turn it into a beautiful wedding cake. Charlie, stop yelling. If you hear barking, I don't know if you guys saw my other cake video, the same dog, my sister's puppy, is here and she likes to bark. So if you hear any barking in the background, it's just her. So I picked up a cake from the grocery store. I don't really have a specific idea in mind on how I'm going to decorate it. I do know that I'm going to split it into two round cakes and then stack them on top of each other. Okay, I just adjusted the angle a little bit so you can see better. So I kind of just brought what I think the basics are and we'll kind of just see what happens. So I just have my turntable here. I have a box of piping bags, two cake rounds. I have a 6-inch one and a 10-inch one. I didn't have an 8-inch, so we're a little weird here, but whatever. A couple of piping tips just in case. I have my metal cake comb. I normally just like to use the straight edge here on my cake comb, but there are some other options just in case. I have a plastic bowl scraper. Again, don't know if I'll use this, but I do like to have it on hand. And then I have a mini offset and a medium offset spatula. I have my actual cake. It is chocolate cake. I didn't really look at it when I bought it. I just kind of picked the one that had like the nicest buttercream in my opinion. And I just have a bunch of white peonies to decorate with. So the cake itself was $27, $26.99, and then the peonies were $9.99. So the whole total for this whole thing was under $40. So if you wanted a nice cake for an event and you wanted to see how you can redecorate one of these, you can have a really beautiful cake for under $40. All right, so the first thing I want to do is scrape off all the buttercream, and I'm going to separate the yellow, the green, and the white. I'm hoping that there's enough buttercream. I kind of tend to use a lot, so we'll see how this goes. All right, I'm just gonna start peeling off the flowers. Oh, they're kind of hard. Oh, jeez. I don't know how easy this is gonna be now that I'm seeing like how hard the buttercream is. All right, so we got the flowers. I'm gonna do the leaves. All right, I guess then let's go in for the white. I'm gonna do the border first, and then get all of the actual buttercream off. I think the hardest part is gonna be leaving crumbs out of the top layer. Okay, and then the bottom has yellow and white. Oh, this is softer for some reason. Okay, weird. So I'm just gonna try to scrape up the white as much as I can without getting any yellow. I did bring food coloring. I didn't show it in the beginning because I kind of didn't want to use it, but I brought peach and green, but I was hoping to keep this white, but we'll see. Okay, and then I'm gonna try to get the yellow like band off, I guess, and add that to my yellow bowl. All right, I'm just getting off as much as possible without taking the white with me. And then I'm gonna switch back to white, clean this off. Okay, now I'm gonna switch back to white and hopefully not get more crumbs in the buttercream. I'm just gonna go kind of slow because I'm nervous that I'm gonna go too deep. Because it's like, I don't know, it's thicker than I thought it would be. But at the same time, ooh, found it. I was gonna say, I don't know where the cake is. I'm sure this would be easier if you let the cake sit out for a couple hours, but I literally just bought it like 40 minutes ago. So it's still kind of cold. Ooh, that came off like a nice layer. Just gotta get rid of the crumbs. Okay, I got a crumb bowl because I think I'm just gonna be doing it like this and just picking off the pieces. It's chocolate too. I should have got vanilla so it was less noticeable when there was crumbs in the buttercream. Look at that piece. Ooh, that's a good piece. Nice. This is taking a lot longer than I anticipated it would take. Okay, it's definitely gonna have a lot of crumbs in it on the final layer, so this should be interesting. Okay, I finally got most of the top layer off. I think I'm just gonna cut it with a serrated knife to make it even and not as raggedy, and just leave the rest. So now I'm just gonna do the sides, which hopefully will be easier. Yeah, that's a lot easier because I can actually see how deep it is. So I'm just gonna go and trim the top. Here, I'm gonna take it off of this. I'm just gonna trim the top so that way it's flat and not as raggedy from me pulling cake pieces off. Okay, now that we're pretty much good, I'm just gonna take my 6-inch. I'm gonna make sure that I can fit 2, which I can, but it's gonna be tight, so I have to get it as close to the edges as possible. And then I'm just gonna take a smaller knife and just go around, make sure my knife is straight up and down and not angled into the cake. And I'm just gonna go and cut around just like that. And then I'm gonna try to get another one in. Perfect. I'm just gonna peel away all of the extra pieces and put them somewhere. I'm just gonna throw them on the sheet that it came with. Oh, it doesn't even have buttercream on the inside. It's just one solid cake. I thought it was gonna be like 2 layers. Okay, there we go, perfect. I just put a little bit of buttercream on my turntable to stick my circle down, and then I'm just going to pick up one of my cakes, now that we have a nice round cake, and just place it on there. Cool. And this one is just gonna live off to the side for a little bit while I figure out the buttercream situation. Okay, so what I think I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna microwave this for like 10-second intervals until it's soft enough for me to stir around. And I'm gonna see how bad the crumb situation is. I think I'm gonna be using the yellow to stack the other one on top since I don't have that much white. So yeah, I'm gonna start microwaving the buttercream and seeing what we can do with it. Okay, this was about 15 seconds. It seems to be like the perfect consistency, but it is very crummy. So that's not good. I feel like I should have known that this would happen, but for some reason I'm still like shocked and annoyed. I'm kind of sad because my vision was like a beautiful all white wedding cake, and now this is like so filled with crumbs that it's kind of crazy. But I'm gonna do the yellow now and stack them, and then do a really, really thin crumb coat because we don't have a lot of buttercream, and then go from there. Okay, perfect. So let's just plop that on there, all that we have, because we don't have that much. And then I'm just gonna take my mini offset. I just prefer this for 6-inch cakes. Anything bigger than that, I'll go with a medium one. But I'm just spreading it evenly, trying to keep it all in because we don't have that much, can't keep adding. And then I'm just gonna take the other piece that we have and just put that right on top. And yeah, I mean, that doesn't look that bad. It could be worse. The shape wasn't my best cut job, but that's my fault. I'm just gonna put as little of amount as possible on the whole cake. So I'm gonna start with like 2 spoonfuls, not even. That was like 1.5 spoons, and try to get that as far as I can take it. It's like, it's lopsided. Okay, yeah, this is gonna be really difficult. Especially because I do not want to keep adding crumbs by like sticking my spatula back in there. Wow, this cake rips apart so easily. This is making me really nervous. Look at how much it's ripping. Oh my god. I don't know if it's because the buttercream is so sticky, or if it's just like the cake in general, because I'm sure they don't use like the freshest of cakes, you know what I mean? It's probably like frozen or a box or something. No offense to grocery stores, but let's be honest. And I'm just using buttercream for my crumble too. Crumble, not crumble, if that makes sense. I I don't really know why it's so lopsided, considering the cake was flat to begin with. Okay, and then we'll just do the top again, get all that extra off. Still not sure why it's not flat. But at least we have a crumb coat, right? I'm just gonna make sure I get anywhere that might not have any. Because we really want to seal these crumbs in there, since we already have so many crumbs in our buttercream. I know the last time Charlie was in a video, I picked her up and showed her to the camera, but she's a lot bigger now and she doesn't like getting picked up anymore because it's uncomfortable. And she didn't honestly really like getting picked up that time either. So just know that she's there. And she looks really cute. She's sniffing. Okay, now I'm gonna put this lopsided as hell cake in the fridge just to set the buttercream, and then I guess we'll figure out what to do with all of this. Okay, and while that is in the fridge, I'm just going to take my peonies and trim the stems so that way they're not, you know, 2 feet long and I can actually stick them in the cake. And I'm also gonna wash the stems a little bit just in case there's any sort of pesticides or anything on them. And honestly, I also really like the leaves on these, so I'm gonna keep these to the side. I'm also gonna give these a nice good rinse in cold water as well, just to make sure that these are also usable, just in case I won't decide to reach for them a little bit later. So let's give these ones a rinse. Hi Charlie, thank you so much. Thank you so much for licking my feet. I really appreciate it. As much as I want it to be plain white, I just don't think that that's going to work out considering how many crumbs are in there. I hope you guys can see how bad it is, but there are a lot of crumbs. So I'm gonna add some pink food coloring to hopefully kind of mask that, or at least make it look like it's supposed to be there. I don't really know. And then we will frost the sides. All right, suddenly I wish I decided to bring a darker color, but I didn't. I only have creamy peach. So maybe I'll add kind of a lot to get the color better. I don't know, I was kind of debating on burgundy, but I didn't because I was like, oh, it'd be cute if it ended up as a wedding cake. That's not happening. This is like red, so that's interesting. Okay, so here is the color. I mean, is it my favorite? No. Is it fine? I mean, yeah, it'll work. You can still see the crumbs, but it's a lot better than it was before, I guess. So I guess it's just a start. So we're just gonna plop 2 good spoonfuls right on top. Make sure my turntable is nice and clean. There we go. And then I am just going to start spreading it. I am gonna try to keep it pretty thin just because I don't know how far I'll be able to stretch this buttercream, but I am going to try to keep it pretty even. I mean, you can definitely still see the crumbs in it, so that kind of sucks. All right, so I'm just doing what I normally do. I'm just slathering it on, not really paying attention to if it's like perfectly neat. I just kind of want it to be pretty much even all the way around, which is really hard to do. So I'm just going around, I'm getting all the buttercream on at this point just because I'm like, I just need it all on. I do go a little bit more in depth on my cake decorating technique in my, I think it's called like how to make a Pinterest worthy aesthetic minimalist cake or something like that. All of those words are there, I just don't know what order they're in. I do go a little bit more in depth on how I, you know, do the rainbow arm and slather it all on and stuff like that, but since this isn't really a tutorial video, I'm just gonna skip talking about all of that. And you guys can just watch. Okay, I'm having a hard time getting it like perfectly smooth, so I'm going to rinse this off with some hot water, get it nice and hot, and then go around with that. That way I can get it smooth without actually taking any off. And you can see that makes it a lot smoother without really taking a ton of the buttercream off. All right, I'm pretty sure this is as smooth as it's really gonna get. I mean, it's not gonna be perfect because there's so many crumbs. So now that that's like that, I'm just going to bring in the crown of the buttercream. And it's really not, it's not my best work, but we're gonna make it work. So I'm just going to start placing in peonies. I'm gonna do one right in the middle. I only have 5, so I really have to make this work. And this will help cover up some of the crumbs as well and how lopsided it is. So I'm just kind of doing it as like a cascade down the cake. Then I'm just gonna take some of the leaves and kind of fill in. I'm just gonna take the cake right off the cake board, the turntable, and just place it on my larger cake board, which is very large. That way I can pick it up and move it if I have to. These are just some damp paper towels I kept to the side to clean up any messes. And we're just gonna clean it up like that. Is the color of the buttercream my favorite? Absolutely not. Wish it was like a daintier color. But do I hate the cake? Not really. Obviously the crumbs are a bit of an issue. All right, so here's the finished cake. I wish that the buttercream was a, nicer color and then it didn't have all these crumbs in it. I think if I had coated the sides in sprinkles and kind of piled the peonies on top, that would have helped a lot. But because I didn't have any sprinkles on hand, I did want to kind of cover it as much as I can from the side. So that's why I did like a little cascade of the peonies with some of the flowers. Yeah, I probably would give this whole experience like a 5 out of 10. Getting the buttercream off the cake was honestly kind of nightmarish. It could have been way worse. It's a cake, it's standing, it's there. So yeah, should we cut into it just for fun? All right, I got a knife and a plate. I'm gonna go from the back. We don't want any of the peonies. All right, honestly, when you cut into it, it looks pretty good. Looks like a regular cake. I don't know why I wouldn't, but. And let's try some. Not my favorite, but it's not bad. So, alright guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you look out for upcoming videos, like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.